Yeah, it's a very unique situation. There was so many unknowns finishing out our conference play. And we were one of four conferences that only played in the fall. So we are now one of four that are playing non-conference schedules in the spring. So it's kind of different, unique. But now, according to the NCAA, we are having an NCAA championship in the end of April. So that's really exciting where, we were still in the unknown after our last game against TCU. So it's very interesting, very unique, but also very exciting that this split championship season is happening. And we are, having an opportunity now to, I guess, play that non-conference NCAA, hopefully that NCAA tournament play.
Do we have any questions for Coach? Joe Mercado, go ahead.
Hey, good morning, Coach. When you were putting the spring schedule together, how did that all come about? Obviously, it's a different situation than usual. And how important was it to get the home and home with Virginia since you've had such a good series with them over the years?
Yeah. Hi, Joe. It's been like no other type of schedule that I've had to put together. Definitely, if we're talking about Virginia, the quality of our opponent was going to be very important, with us not getting an automatic qualifier because we finished second in our conference play, but to also get a quality opponents that weren't in conference play. So you look at it, and a lot of it was kind of drawn to the ACC or the SEC. So Virginia was an easy opponent, but also one that will present a great game for us and allow us to see a lot of things before we go into the championship season.
Go ahead, Kevin Kinder.
Yeah, I was wondering, did you talk to any other coaches with split schedules and maybe even outside the sport? I was thinking specifically of rifle, which usually has a split schedule, but didn't have one this year, kind of flipping around, just to try to see, where you were, how you might approach it. And then secondly, how much did the exhibition game, even though it had to be moved indoors, help you kind of get back in the swing of things a little bit?
Yeah, Kevin, good question. I wasn't smart enough to think about rifle. I didn't think about that. What I was very mindful of going into our spring season was to make sure that the body of work we did in the fall was still enough to get us into the NCAA tournament. So I had to be very aware of what we needed to do when there's no RPI anymore. So, sometimes, we leave the NCAA committee and have a lot of faith in them, but with COVID, it was very tricky. So I hope I did my team justice and I did right by them by putting a plan together like we did. With that being said, because there's no footprint to this. So I did talk to some other coaches in soccer and kind of see what else they were doing. And it looked like this would potentially be the best plan. And I will tell you this, we were really upset to have to move the game indoors against Akron, but it was so good to play against, someone we haven't ever played against, but also just, not having an inner squad and having another opponent that was going to be a little unpredictable and for us to be able to do some things that we've been working on. So it was, we haven't played since, November. So it was really important that, we had that game in before the St. Joe's game.
Coach, how about the dynamic of Sunday's match? You've never played St. Joe's. You played in the fall, they didn't, but they've gotten 2 or 3 matches in this spring, and you guys have kind of waited around a little bit.
Yeah, they're definitely a dangerous team that will, present some problems to us. And, as I've been talking to my team about, they're a very hardworking and physical team. And, they are very enthusiastic to be playing similar to us in the fall. So that emotional piece, let alone the quality of St. Joe's, will be something that we have to really make sure that we're focused on and ready for, because they're fighting for wins just like we are. And we're so excited to play a quality opponent like St. Joe's, and hopefully give them everything we got, and continue our quest to the championship season.
Go ahead, Joe.
Coach, looking ahead to next week, what's the value of, and I know you've done it before, but scrimmaging in NWSL side in Louisville?
Yeah, it's, with our program having 29 professional players, getting our team in front of professional coaches, but also getting our players to see the level of professionals is so important. My main goal is to maximize potential here and help players achieve whatever goal it is that they have individually. And most kids are coming here to be pros. So, it's part of our process, and part of what we want to make in our culture. But also, it's an incredible opportunity for us to see what we're not going to be good at. When you're playing a professional team, obviously, it'll be a great learning opportunity, because with failure is your best lesson. So we're hoping that we're going to see a lot in that game. And then we have Duke a couple weeks later. So my hope is that we will gain a lot of confidence, but also a lot of understanding of where we are by playing a professional team.
Kevin.
On the physical side, you mentioned one of the challenges, of playing two separate seasons. I assume it's ramping back up to get into peak game condition, not once, but twice over this period. Did you treat the run up to this kind of like the start to a regular season? And overall, how's the health of your team right now?
Great question, Kevin. Yeah, we did. It was a little trickier than approaching like a preseason August camp, because our team was in an 8-hour kind of week segment with the NCAA. And I probably need to take this time to just compliment the focus and commitment of the players, because it's been incredibly challenging, but also self-motivating of what these young women had to do over break. It was, we wanted them to take a break, but the periodization of trying to ramp it back up, like you said, with the goal of no injury and making sure that we get them and obviously their peak performance, really relied a lot on their internal motivation and what they were doing outside of what we have here at Dreams Work or when we were indoors. So it was tricky. It was different. I was really talking to Alina Stahl about this. I'm like, Alina, the freshmen don't know any different. It's just you upperclassmen. They think this is normal, that they got to just keep staying fit all year round. And she was like, wow, it's a lot different, coach. And I think there's a lot of great things about it. And then there's some things that, we wish we had if we were in regular season or non-COVID.
Go ahead, Joe.
Coach, you're going to get, when you do get to the NCAA tournament, we're going to have two, or sides that didn't play in the fall and sides are trying to get 13 matches in the spring. What's the ideal run-up? I mean, do you have enough runway with 4 matches and 2 exhibitions to get ready for the NCAA tournament in April?
I know it's like I said, it's such a, this was a conversation I had with administration, with, the athletic directors. I'm like, it's very interesting to see how this is going to play out, because, my 27 years of coaching, I've never experienced this. So we really had to, think about if that will be enough games to get us ready. And if that means maybe a little bit more of some inter squad scrimmaging in between, and try to do it as much as game like stuff, that's what we're going to have to do. So I do think that is, us coaches are always seeking that competitive edge. Now, does all the other conferences have the edge over us four that went in the fall, or do we? So, I think from my professional opinion, we're going to do everything we can to make sure we manage that piece. But it's a great question, Mark.
Go ahead, Joe.
And then one last one for me. Your overall assessment of how the squad fared in the fall going 7-2?
Yeah, I and again, COVID's COVID. We had to travel 5 times. Every other weekend we were traveling, and doing a lot of commercial travel, and it was a lot. So, not that, I think TCU was deserving of our conference champion, but I was so proud of a lot of the obstacles we had to overcome in the fall and the unknown on top of a travel schedule. I thought we were incredible. You're never satisfied when you don't win a championship, because that's what we've pledged here and that's our standard of excellence. But to really look back and no excuses, what this team did was pretty incredible, considering, maybe if you looked at those competitive advantages and disadvantages. I thought we really pulled together and performed well.
Any other questions for Coach today? All right, Coach, we'll turn you loose. Thanks so much for the time.
Thanks, you guys. Thanks for taking time out on your Friday. Have a good weekend.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. See ya.